Oh my gosh. It is so exciting to be live here. You guys, it has been forever. Can we say together? Forever. That's from the Sandlot since I've done one of these. And man, it's so good to be back. If you're new here, my name is Arica Angelo. I've been a dating and relationship expert for 14 years now. When you're watching this, 14 years. And you may think, well, you don't look like you've been giving relationship advice for 14 years. Well, I have. And today we're going to talk about the importance of like how to actually love yourself and be confident. And also, I want to answer your questions. I want to hear where you are in your journey at the end of this video or at the end of what I'm going to share. At the very end of it, this is going to be the perfect time for you to ask me questions, for you to recap me on what's been going on in your life. I can't wait to hear the progress you've made or the progress you haven't made. I'm here for all of it. So, hello, Thomas, my darling. I love Thomas. Thomas, you are just one of my special ones. How are you, my darling? Chris, hello. Chris is another special one. I'm so glad to be back. Penguin, starting the day with love and knowledge. Thank you, Erica. You are so welcome, my darling. Hi, Robert Rogers. Double cross, great. Tommy Biles. Hey, Erica. Hope you're loving your relocation adventure. Thank you for following me. Appreciate you fortifying men's progress. Hi, Aj. Hi, Ninja Wolf. Oh my God. Can we all just say that we miss Ninja Wolf? Thank you for being here. Hi, Daniel Miller. I better get started because new people are going to be like, I don't want to hear this woman do crazy voices. I came to figure out self love, how to love myself, and to be confident. Here's the thing. Let me explain to you why self love is so important. Because here's the thing, you can watch dating and relationship videos till you are blue in the face. You can read every meme on Instagram. You can watch every YouTube short. You can watch every one of my Instagram reels. But until you have an encounter with love, until you experience it, the tangibleness of love, then you will continue going out seeking information, but never feeling satisfied because you haven't tasted the sweetness of love. Can I get an amen on that? Listen, love is not about just learning. It's not about just pursuing a woman in dating. It's not just trying to get a man. It is about having a raw, powerful, tangible encounter with love. Love is meant to be experienced. And we know that. We know that on a deep level, which is why we work so hard to find someone, why we work so hard to face our demons, or why some of us stay in pain cycles for so long because we know we need it. We are sometimes scared of getting it, or we don't know how to get out of our pain cycles. So we keep attracting people who abuse us, neglect us, don't respond to us, don't want anything to do with us. And what we don't understand is they are resistant to the pain that's inside of you, or the pain inside of you is a magnet for them, and it's the own pain inside of them that they can't face. So, when I talk about how to love yourself and how to be confident, men, women, all the time, we want to look and feel confident. Like that is something that we all achieve. I want to feel confident. I want to look confident. But the basis of confidence, the foundation of confidence is love, is to know that you are loved. And so, how do you learn to love yourself in the process? And I've shared this with you, I've shared this with my clients. I will share it with you that my old mentor used to say this to me, and she was from Texas. Erica, you can't give out what you don't have. And that would piss me the off, because I was like, but I want this. I need this. Oh, Chris Lester, still in a relationship for 8 months now, thanks to you, Erica. I love it. I love it. That is fantastic. I love that. So, how do we give ourselves these encounters of love? Because that is the foundation. We can't go out demanding that the world loves us, respects us, if we are not doing the same damn thing for us. And so, one of the things I'm going to give you lots of practical ways of you hear self love. I know you're listening to this. I know you're thinking, that is true, Arica. I get that. That makes sense. I would feel more better about my life if I felt like I didn't need love from other people. I would feel better about my life if I just felt self sufficient. That's going too far. Self love has definitely gone too far in terms of people talk about it, but that's another conversation. So, how do you practically love yourself? If I asked you today, how many times this week, hell, how many times today have you shown yourself compassion? And you say, well, what does showing myself compassion look like? If you effed up, if you screwed up, did you berate yourself? Did you say to yourself, you idiot, you always do this. I can't believe you didn't go talk to that girl. I can't believe you told that guy your deepest, darkest secrets. You're such an idiot. Have you spoken to yourself that way? Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to put on my braces. Excuse me. I got braces, you guys, and I forgot to put them on. I'm about to start sounding funny. You noticed in my recent videos, I talk with a lisp. It's because I have braces now. And I have to wear these. Okay, now I'm going to start talking funny. But listen, have you judged yourself this week? Have you told yourself that you're an idiot? Like this self talk, things that you would never tell another person, but it's the things that you say to yourself. Yes, you do. And so, what does self compassion look like? I had a bit of a failure, or it feels like a failure in my life just recently with I'm doing this email campaign. If you're on my email list, you got some emails from me. It's not going so well. There goes that list. And the old me would say, Arica, you're not doing enough. You're not smart enough. All these things that we say to ourselves is essentially saying to ourselves, you are not enough, which is huge. And so look how this plays out. When we want other people to love us, but we are telling ourselves, you are not enough. Can you see the disparity there? Can you see the gap where that could potentially become a problem? So we love ourselves by showing ourselves compassion. Second question I have for you. How many times have you gone out and intentionally enjoyed yourself? Enjoyed what you were creating for yourself? How many times have you been intentional and said, I'm going to go out and make time to enjoy myself? Instead, we get so caught up with the I got to perform, I got to do my job, and then I have to do this and I have to do that. And we make no intention, we make no time in our busy schedule to actually enjoy ourselves. So, this is how it plays out in relationships. Hey, person, I want you to love me. I want you to enjoy me. But I haven't taken the time to go out and enjoy myself. I haven't sat in the sun. I haven't spent any time in nature. I haven't taken a hot bath. I didn't make myself that meal that I've been dreaming of that I have the capacity to make, but I haven't gotten off my ass to go make that meal. I love to get massages. I just haven't done it in a while. How many of you have said that? I love these certain things. I wish I would do these certain things, but I just haven't done them in a while. Listen, Western culture will tell you that these sort of things are luxuries and that you need to earn them. But when we tell ourselves, I have to earn those experiences to enjoy myself, what we are programming ourselves for is that I have to earn love. Because if you have to earn that moment of enjoying yourself, then that enjoying yourself is self love. That is you putting self love to work. So when you say, I don't have time for that, Arica, I have a busy schedule. I don't have time to love myself. Why should someone else make time to love you if you aren't making time to love you? You are the most important person. I always tell my clients this. You are the most important person. Without you, everything falls apart. It all goes to shit without you. You are the most important person. So, how are you taking care of you? Because this is how you love yourself. Loving yourself is taking care of yourself. And I think that in Western culture, we prioritize accomplishment far above taking care of ourselves, valuing ourselves, listening to how we speak to ourselves, investing in coaching, investing in self development, becoming better. Some people do, some people are very much on that mission, but some people are like, it's a luxury. I can't afford that. You can't afford to stay in pain. You can't afford to not have love in your life. Like, that's what you can't afford. Who wants to go down on their deathbed and said, what I did with my life was I worked my ass off. I have nobody around me who were here for me my last days. All I have is my work to show for it. All I have is a busy schedule. All I have are the bills that I paid. All I have is, I went to the gym, which is great, but I don't have people in my life. I don't have anything to show for my legacy because I don't have people in my life. And I sure as hell don't feel good about me. I feel like I'm a piece of shit. So, who signs up for that kind of life? But we do that when we don't prioritize loving ourselves. We do. Loving yourself is the biggest priority. So, what does that look like? Taking time to go out and enjoy yourself. Make a freaking list today of the 5 things that you have been neglecting because you've been too busy, because of money, because of other people need you more. Screw all of that. Find one of those things on the list and you go out and you do it today or you do it this week, because you cannot change the rhythm of love in your life, attracting love, keeping love, feeling love. You cannot change that experience as long as you continue to create the same old experiences over and over and over for yourself. So it is going out and enjoying yourself. It is monitoring how you think about yourself. You might be programmed to talk shit about yourself. You might be programmed to be hard on yourself. And maybe that's okay. And maybe that got you to where you are. But to get you where you are going, that kind of conversation that you are having with yourself will not support you to get you over there. It got you to here. You're here watching this video because something in your life needs to change. You want to change. You're coming to me for advice. You're coming to me for support. You're coming to me for inspiration so that you can create change. You can take the words that I'm sharing with you and you can go and create change. So to do that, you can't keep talking down to yourself. If you screw up this week and your old thought pattern comes in of you're such an ass, you're so stupid, you should have known better. That's a very slippery slope. You should have known better. You can stop in that moment. I had a great business coach. She taught me that when thoughts like this come up, she said, Erica, when that thought comes up, you just say back to that thought, that's really not a helpful thought right now. That really doesn't help me out right now. And all of a sudden, that thought that normally would have beat the crap out of you and put you on a downward spiral, all of a sudden shifts. And you're like, it's just gone. It dissipates. And then you can create a new thought. I'm doing the best that I can. I'm doing the best that I can. So today, for those of you who talk down on yourself, you're hard on yourself, I want you to say that today. I did the best that I can. And you have a screw up, and you will. We all have screw ups. I am doing the best that I can. That is how you love yourself. Because here's the thing, if you don't practice this for yourself, I promise you, it's not a negotiation here. I promise you that you will be just as abusive to the person you're in a relationship with. And you might think, no, I would never do that. I'm too nice of a person. I would never talk to someone else that way. Oh, but you will. You'll eventually become critical of them because those are the seeds that you've deposited into your ground, into you. And so you can only produce fruit based off of the seeds that you continue to deposit. And the thoughts that you think about yourself, the way that you treat yourself, those seeds of lack of self love will only grow out of you. And that is what you'll give. because you can't give out what you don't have. And so, one thing that I really, in my emotional warrior program, I talk a lot about self love and self compassion. And I remember when I was creating that in my program years ago, I made this program. I think I made the emotional warrior. It was originally called Discovering Your Glory. And I don't think people understood it. So I called it Emotional Warrior. And I still don't think people understand it. But I'm working on that. But the thing is, in that program, I really talked about self compassion and what it looks like. And every single one of the people that did that program said, I struggle with that. I struggle with showing myself compassion because who taught us? Who the hell taught us? Hey, you should be compassionate to yourself. You are worthy of love. You are worthy to be tender and kind and loving to. Who taught you that? I wasn't taught that. Maybe some of you were. And if you were, it's quite rare and you should really count your blessings that you had that. But most of us have been taught to be very cruel to ourselves, to be, and if not cruel, very demanding, because that's how you achieve. You achieve through demanding more of yourself. Ah! Well, and the 3D, yes, that worked. But now that we're going into the 5D, people who believe in those patterns will realize that those will start tripping them up. It will cost them their marriages. It will cost them their finances. It will cost them their mental health. And they will see that as we go into 5D, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should YouTube that. um, as we start going into 5D, like those patterns of demand aren't going to support us anymore. So it's just a matter of time when those people who wholeheartedly believe that. I was watching a business guy, and man, I mean, he great business ideas, but the way he treats himself, I'm like, this guy just so he looks like a broken man with big muscles. It's so sad to watch this man, but he doesn't value himself. And I'm like, that's he's eventually either going to lose his marriage or he's going to go bankrupt or something because he has no value for himself. And eventually self sabotage will kick in. So, self love, you guys, is the most powerful thing, and being compassionate with ourselves. As I was saying in that emotional warrior program that I have, that when I talked about self compassion, it was interesting. There are other parts of that program that I thought were more powerful, and maybe they just spoke to me. But it seems like every client that has done that program, they've always said the self-compassion bit is the bit that was the game changer for me. When you talked about valuing myself, valuing my heart, listening to my heart, restoring my heart, when you talked about those things, Erica, that was a game changer for me. And so here's the thing. Here's a practical side of self-love. When you don't love yourself, and someone like me, or you read some meme on Instagram, or you see a YouTube short and you go, well, I don't know if that's going to work for me. I don't know if that's going to help me get a woman. I don't know if that's going to help me get a man. I don't know if self love is going to help keep my marriage together. I don't know if self love is actually going to make me more attractive. Here's the thing, the ego wants to tell you, like, this is something different. Don't do it. Don't trust it. And so, what happens is we need to work with our ego, right? And I know Eckhart Tolle and the Power of Now says, in some regards, it kind of gets demonized, the ego. But if you read books on trauma, there's a wonderful book on complex post traumatic stress disorder that I love. And he says that we actually need our ego for a time being, especially people, those of you who have come from trauma. And so you're like, I don't even want to waste time on loving myself because I've never, ever been told I was lovable. I've never had a real experience of love, Erica. So why would I invest in loving myself when I've never had that experience? And if for you, I would say to you, and I will put it in the comments, go get my free connection meditation, because that will help prepare your body, your mind, your heart, and your nervous system to be able to receive love. But when you've come from these things and the ego tells you it's a waste of time, sometimes we need to partner with our ego and go, okay, I'm going to love myself so that I can get a woman. I can get a man. So that my wife will want to have more sex with me, so that I can start making more money. I'll tell you what, when I started on my own journey of self-love, it was all those things. I'm going to love myself so I can get a husband. And I knew inherently, like, if I didn't love myself, I would never find my man and I would never become financially successful. I would never be successful if I didn't love myself. I inherently knew that. My intuition, thank God, was smart enough and knew that. So I went on a journey of loving myself because I was chasing a carrot. And I have to say that I think that's an okay starting point. It start with where you are. You can't get to somewhere else. You can only get to where you are, and you can only take the next step. So for any of you who are watching this and you're like, that's too far out there for me, Erica. Like I have no desire to love myself because I feel terrible, or I'm not convinced that love is that great. I just want someone to do life with. I don't even know if we're going to love each other. Like, let's just hang out. And some of you might be watching this and you're married and you're like, I just want my wife to have more sex with me. Or you're a woman, you're like, I just want my husband to quit being an asshole. So if I can love myself more to change that, then sure, sign me up. But at the end of the day, you have to look at yourself as a person who is a walking entity, a walking being. And whatever you deposit, think of yourself as a tree. Whatever seeds you are depositing, that's the only thing that can grow out of you, babe. That's it. That's all that can grow out of you. So if you're depositing self hate, guess what you're going to produce? Rejection. So many times when I've had clients and when I've seen people in my comments who struggle so much with rejection, when I see this and I just think, that is seeds of self-hatred that they've picked up because of trauma, because of someone abusing them. And then what happens is it puts up a sign of self-sabotage and reject me. And then they have encounter after encounter after encounter of rejection. And they just think, I just need more principles. Like, tell me the right clothes to wear, tell me what to say. And like, you want all these simple answers, but it's not a simple answer. And I think that's why so many people get pissed off when they don't have changes, is because you're just changing the fruit. You're not going down into the root system. You cannot demand a lemon tree when you've got orange seeds in the ground, or you have rotten seeds in the ground. Let's take it there. But if you want a lemon tree, you have to go in and put lemon seeds, and you have to make sure that they're good seeds. You were the tree. And whatever you produce from your life is based on the seeds that you deposit. And the seeds are how you're taking care of yourself, how you're speaking to yourself, and resolving that trauma that's on the inside. And I think so many times we hear the word trauma, we hear inner work, we hear shadow work, all these things, and they sound like scary terms. And I used to feel that way too, until I realized, okay, if I want to love myself, I'm going to have to go and face those places that first taught me that I was unlovable. I got to go address that shit. I got to go handle that. So that's why I changed my program into Emotional Warrior, because I was like, you have to become a freaking warrior to go and face those things. So I had to go and face those painful moments where I was taught, and the experiences that were delivered to me that said I was unlovable. I had to go face that shit. And I had to, one, give myself compassion and say, Erica, I am so sorry that happened to you. That's a huge part of loving yourself. Back to that compassion is addressing those things that have happened to you and saying, I am so sorry that happened to you. I can't tell you how many times I've worked with clients when I used to do in-person coaching. I haven't done that in years because of all my travels. But when I would hold my clients and they would say, my parents physically hit me. My parents talked down to me. My parents, would scream at me, and so I just get locked up, or I get scared, or I want to run. And I would just hold my clients and touch them and let them feel love and say, I am so sorry you had that experience. That was not okay. I've even like yelled at my clients' parents. I'm like, let's picture your parents in the room right now. Okay. Let's bring your parents here. Your mom beat the shit out of you. Bring her in the room with me. Let's have a conversation with this woman. And I'm like, don't you ever talk to him again. Who the hell do you think you are? And that inner child goes, woo, there's an adult standing up for me. Oh, finally, I should have been stood up for then. Someone's standing up for me. Awesome. And then I would yell at that parent. And I learned this from my coaches because they did it for me when I was going through a very dark time in my life. And they did it for me. And I do it for my clients. And so my clients go, ooh, there's an adult. That inner child goes, there's an adult standing up for me. Oh, I ain't never had that. And then after we go that, and then I give them the power to use their voice. That is also loving yourself, is using your voice. And you will hear me talk about this over and over and over and over again about using your voice because it's powerful. Your words have power. And when we hold our voice back, when we don't tell someone that we like them, when we don't tell our partner that we love them, when we don't tell people that they're hurting us, when we don't put boundaries in place and say, hey, you will not talk to me that way. We're not doing that. Either you change your tone or I'm walking out the door. What would you like to do? So it's giving them that voice. Using your voice is self love. Write that down. Using my voice is self love. And so when I'm with that client, I go, now you use your voice and you tell your parent what you wanted to say to them. This is some good inner child work stuff. I wasn't planning on going here, but we're going here. Someone needs us. And so, what do you need to say to that parent? Mom, it was not okay for you to talk to me that way. And I'm talking like grown ass men and women, like people in their 40s and 50s, going back to their inner child, talking to that parent and getting their power back. And so then they say that to their parent. And then that's when I hold them and I give them that experience of love. I am so sorry you went through that. I am so sorry you experienced that. That was not okay. The truth is, and then we build into the truth. Then we start depositing in those good seeds of self love because you can't give out what you don't have. So just resolving the trauma is not enough. You got to have a new experience. You got to have that encounter of love so that you can move forward, so that you can receive love. You have to know what love feels like. Your body, your nervous system has to know what love feels like in order to feel safe enough so that you can connect, as opposed to disconnecting from your mind and going, this isn't safe, so I need to self-sabotage. I need to say things that will push them away. No, it's all your nervous system. It's all your body just going, protect, protect. But when we have a good encounter with love, then our nervous system, our body goes, I know what that feels like. I want more of that. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to get more of those damn experiences. It's just like when you have sex and you have sex and it feels so good, right? And you're like, whoa, I want more of that. How do I get more of that? It's the same thing when we experience love. It's how do I get more of that? And so my clients, I will hold them, give them that experience of love so that their body feels what it's like to be stood up for, what it feels like to use their voice so that those experiences don't keep happening. It's training them to have a new encounter, a new experience with their identity. And our identity is associated with love. And then when they have that experience, they know what to look for. And so, what I'm trying to do for you right here, right now, is you may not have the opportunity to work with me in person because I haven't done it in years. You may not have the opportunity to work with a coach who knows how to combine all this together, or a therapist. I mean, I've had clients tell me, I worked with therapists for 3 months and what you did for me in 1 hour, no one's ever done this. Why hasn't anyone ever told me this? I'm like, well, you're learning it now. So go and change and have a new encounter. And so, what I'm trying to tell you is you can actively start training yourself to receive love. Here's the thing, I'll make it very simple. The reason why most of us don't have love or we don't have healthy love is because we're wired for experiences that keep us from that trauma. That's why I talk a lot about trauma. Talk so much about trauma. It's super important. Every time I work with a client, first question is, tell me what your mom and dad taught you about love. What does that have to do with me, like getting that woman? What does that have to do with making my marriage? Yeah. You came to me, right? You're paying me to give. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let me do my job. What did your mom and dad teach you about love? Because that was your foundation. It was your foundation. Well, I didn't have parents. Okay. Well, then that teaches you that love is non existent. My parents were abusive. Okay, that taught you that love is painful. So right now, that is in your foundation. And so you will continue to create experiences like that, painful situations that keep reoccurring in your life because that is what's in your foundation. And until we address that foundation, nothing changes. And then when you go to that foundation, you go, ugh, that was a shit experience. And let me tell you, for those of you who've been on an inner healing journey, which I have since my 20s, I'm 41 right now. Let me tell you, when people told me this in my 20s, I'm glad that they prepared me for it. They said healing is like an onion effect. Sometimes it's layers at a time. And so, when I have things that trigger me, I'm like, ooh, that's another layer. And because I've had 20 plus years of experience of inner healing, I know how to take myself through that now. And when I get stuck, guess what I do? I call a coach. I call my therapist. I'm like, stuck, need your help. Please help me. So when you have experiences that don't feel like love, it is your responsibility to go, how can I give myself a new experience? Most of the time, we don't have love because we're addicted to self-sabotaging. And there's something I wanna say, and it's getting every time I go to say this, it kind of leaves my mind. There's something very poignant, and I thought I said it the first time, I thought I said it the second time, and it's not what I'm trying to say. There's something that I'm trying to pull through for you guys. When we don't have love, most of the time, it's because somewhere inside of us, we believe that love is not safe and that we are not worthy of love. And by showing yourself compassion, the more you show yourself compassion, the more those lies can come to the surface. But the more that you beat yourself down, you teach your nervous system, you teach your inner child that you are not safe. So, why would your inner child ever want to use its voice with you when you keep teaching it it's not safe? If I grew up in a home that was very condescending and spoke down to me, and then my inner child goes, love isn't safe. Whenever I speak up, I get talked down to, I get hit. If I have that encounter, right? And then as an adult, because I haven't planted new seeds, I still have those rotten seeds inside that need to be replanted, new seeds deposited, new soil, go through that process. If I haven't done that and those same seeds are still in my foundation, in my root system, and I start doing that to myself. I go right back to what was done to me as a child. I talk down to myself. I hit myself. People are known to cut themselves. Women starve themselves. Men hurt themselves by pushing more in the gym, and then are like, "Oh my God!" I all of a sudden got that a major injury. That major injury just didn't come because you pulled something wrong. No, that's you because you're conditioned that you have to be in pain and that's your conditioning. So the more that we withhold self-compassion from ourselves, those same seeds, that same root system continues to play out, and it continues to create more and 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 more experiences. And it's up to us to start creating new experiences. So this is what I'm trying to say. This is what I talk about in my emotional warrior program. When I take myself to the beach, that tells my nervous system, that tells my body, that tells my little child, little Erica, hey, sweetheart, you are really worthy of being taken care of. And I know that you love the sun, and I know that you love the ocean. And so I'm going to take you there because you're that special and you're that important to me. And so I'm going to intentionally take the time to go do that for you because you matter that much, because you have the value. When you tell yourself, I can't do that because of money, I don't have the time, I've got too much on my plate, just look at yourself telling your inner child and you say, you are not worthy of me spending time on you. You're not worthy of me spending money on you. You are not worthy of me stopping my busy schedule. Okay. That's in your root system. So, guess what? When someone comes into your life and they don't respond to your messages or they don't listen to your heart, all they are doing is being your mirror and they're going, hey, I am just doing to you what you already have set in motion. I am just mirroring back to you what is in your root system and what you fear to address. And so, what we say with trauma work, what we say with inner child work is this: what happened to you was not your fault. And I think that's such a hard thing for any person to receive, because you go, well, some adults will say, yeah, yeah, I know that. Bullshit. Your inner child doesn't know that, because your inner child didn't have the tools that you had, and they still had the mental capacity of that child. And somewhere they are still stuck in your root system. So when they had that belief system, where did I just go? Like sometimes I get on these tangents. I'm like, where did that go? Oh my God, it was so good. But when people come and they show us what's in our root system, we need to thank them. It's not life happening to us, it's life happening for us. And they're going, I'm just reflecting to you what your inner child already believes. And until you confront that, you'll continue to create that. And so that's why I called that whole program Emotional Warrior, because you do have to be a warrior to face that. I remember, um, I can't tell you how many therapists I've worked with and how many coaches I've worked with over the years. And I'll never forget working with a therapist. And I had never gone to therapy over my sister being hit by a drunk driver. And so every year I'd have these major anxiety panic attacks. They were really intense. I couldn't breathe. I'd want to just run. It was very intense. And so finally, I was in the middle of one of those episodes. I called a dear friend of mine and she said, Erica, I love you, but you have got to go see a therapist over your sister's situation. You've got to work through this. And I said, okay, you're right. And so I show up at the therapist's office and he said, Erica, I feel like, and he was the best therapist I have ever had. He said to me, okay, I can't say that because I just saw my other therapist in Bali and I'm like, damn, she's pretty good too. I've been very fortunate to find the best. And so he said to me, Erica, I feel like in our time together, we're going to grieve. Now, I have been a woman. I may look like this, but my life has not looked like this. And when I say this, I mean pretty put together. My life has been effing hard, and I've hit a finally my life has been easier within the past 5 years, but most of my life has been very hard, which makes it very easy for me to relate to people, because if you tell me a story, chances are I've been through it. Not everything. I can't say that I've been through everything. There's a lot of shit I haven't been through, that people have gone through. And so I don't want to take away from their experience, but I've been through a lot of shit. And so when he told me, Erica, our time together, we're going to grieve, that was the last thing I wanted to hear. I wanted to get up and walk out of his office, because I had spent my life grieving, and happy, joyful moments were very rare to me. And so it's like for someone to say, we're going to grieve some more. I'm like, that's all I've been doing with my life. You want me to do this more? And so I trusted him because he had so much. I'm going to tell you why I trusted this therapist, because he had so much compassion for me. You want people to trust you? Show yourself compassion. You want a woman to trust and respect you? Show yourself compassion. You want your partner to respect and love you? Show yourself compassion, because that is a tangible vibration that we resonate with. Whether we have it or not, we know we need it. And so he was offering me tons of compassion, tons of empathy. And I knew I needed that compassion. And so I was willing to grieve again just to get his compassion, because I didn't want to grieve. I didn't want the steps. I just wanted the end result, which was someone to love me, someone to see me, someone to hear my story, and to be very gentle with my heart. Because, with my sister's situation, it was so tender. And I had not a lot, but I've had some people mishandle that because they didn't have the tools to relate to something like that. And so he showed me so much empathy and compassion. And so I signed up for the grieving just to get that. And so here's the thing. This is what he said. And this is why I was telling you, this is why I called it the Emotional Warrior Program, and why I think that we have to be emotional warriors, because when we face this stuff, it is painful. And at one point, my therapist said this to me. I said to him, he goes, Erica, you're talking from your feelings, sweetheart. He didn't call me sweetheart. You're talking, I can't emulate him because he's just so perfect and an angel. He's probably an angel. He's probably not a real person. He's probably an angel. His name is Dr. High. He's in Los Angeles. The best therapist. Anyways, he said to me, Erica, he goes, you're talking from your feelings and you're not talking through them. So you're talking about them as if they're already occurred. You're detached from them. and you're not actually just feeling them. And I just broke and I started crying and I said these words. I said, I don't want to feel that pain again. And some of you might be hearing this and you're like, I just want someone to love me, but I don't want to face myself in the places that feel unlovable because I don't want to feel the experience of that pain again. I don't want to feel the pain of my dad walking out on me. I don't want to feel the pain of my mom grabbing me by the hair and hurting me. I don't want the pain of my parents abandoning me. I don't want the pain of my parents pushing me and breaking me. I don't want the pain of my parents neglecting me. I don't want to feel that pain. And so he said to me this, and this changed the game for me. He said, and I use this all the time when big pain comes up, which it does, to help me not run from it and to go outside of myself. This is why I'm like so big about empowering you guys to not lose yourself to find love, because you're the most important person. What empowers me not to run from myself and run to a bar of chocolate, run to a bottle of alcohol, run to excessive sex, run to social media and go, here's a selfie, tell me I'm pretty. What stops me from running to all these things, and you know what you run to, running to the gym, and I just need to push myself more. I need to make more money. That's going to change everything. No, it's going to just keep recreating what you're already creating. Um, he said, Erica, you've already lived through it. You've already lived through it. You experience the worst of that pain. You've already lived through it. And those words changed me. And I was like, whoo, that's right. And I'm still here, mother. That's like, I get very like, that's my like gangster side. I'm like, that's right. I lived through that shit and I'm still here. And not only am I still here, I'm taking my pain, I'm healing it, I'm healing myself. I become more and more healthy and I give out what I have. I give it out in my coaching, I give it in my YouTube channel, I give it on my Instagram, I give out what's been given to me. I've already lived through it. And so here's the thing, when I talk to you about showing yourself compassion, taking the time to go out and enjoy yourself, because if you don't do it for you, ain't nobody else going to do it for you. If you don't do it for you, you are telling yourself, I am not of value because I refuse to invest in myself. I refuse to take time to do the things that I enjoy. I refuse to address the things that I know are sabotaging my life that I don't want to face, hoping that they're going to go away. Here's the secret, they don't go away. The more that you keep telling yourself through your actions that you are not valuable, guess what people will do? They will treat you like you are not valuable. As hard as that is, that's the way it works until we get into that mirror and start facing ourselves. And here is the truth. The truth is, whatever painful experience that you are running from, whatever excuse you're telling yourself to not love on yourself, to not show yourself compassion, to not go out and enjoy yourself and take care of yourself and add moments into your life that attribute value to you, the reality is you'll just keep recreating this. But the beauty is you've already lived through it and you're here. And it didn't destroy you then. It may have felt like it. Because let me tell you something, when you go through pain, it sure as hell feels like it's destroying you. 100%. But the reality is, then we whoop, 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 come out of that trigger response. We come into the present and we tell our nervous system, okay, I'm here and I'm still alive and I'm still kicking. So, quick recap, how do we practically love ourselves and become more confident? See, real confidence comes from love. It always does. You can fake confidence, and I see a lot of people faking confidence. It's like the people that you see on social media that it's like, oh, they posted all these pretty pictures of themselves. They look so happy and then they killed themselves. You can fake confidence, but confidence separated from love is not real confidence and there's no longevity. It's not sustainable. I've watched people fake confidence and you can start off there. I should have started there. Fake it till you make it. I started faking my confidence until I could integrate it with healing and self-love. Sure. Start participate with the ego, work with your ego for a little bit, but don't stay stuck there. But real confidence comes from love, and people feel that. Your wife will feel that, the person you're trying to attract, the person that you're having a hard time in relationship with. This is why, like, whenever people go, what do I do when someone's ghosted me or they pull back? I'm like, pour into yourself, start valuing yourself, go take care of yourself. Why? Because you become a magnet for attraction, because we gravitate towards value. And people will not gravitate towards you if you're not depositing actions that attribute value to yourself. So, going out and enjoying yourself, creating moments intentionally to teach your nervous system, to teach your body, to teach your inner child, to teach your mind that you are valuable and that you are worth taking the time to take care of yourself by going to the beach, by going for that hike, by if it's going to the gym, whatever it is that you enjoy, not to punish yourself. I think some people go, oh, yeah, I enjoyed the gym. Some people do, but some people, it's just another form of self-punishment, really is what it boils down to. And they're just hoping if they look a certain way, it's going to get them a certain result. And they don't realize that the result is already inside of them. And if they did their inner work, and they could get that for themselves, and they could have that own experience for themselves. And then when they meet someone, it would just be the icing on the cake. So it's going out and enjoying yourself. It's creating moments that teach your body that you are valuable and that you are worthy of love. It is changing the way that you speak to yourself. Self-judgment, being overly critical, being overly demanding of yourself and your nervous system. All of these things take away from self-love. So when you do that, when you get those condemning thoughts, you say, hey, that is not a helpful thought. Not a helpful thought. And then we go back and go, okay, I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. And the other way of practically loving yourself is to quit running from your pain. And I think that that is the hardest thing to do. I think we are wired to run to the chocolate bar, run to masturbating, run to porn, run to meaningless sex, run to external validation. But I know this is why I became an addict of self-healing, self-help, introspection. I knew many years ago that if I healed myself, I would change my life. And I have to say, my life is freaking beautiful right now. I have been living in Bali for the past 5 years. I now live in the south of France. It's been a lifelong dream of mine. Um, I had I have other stuff I want to tell you that I am not allowed to tell you just yet, but I had a huge project that is something I wanted to do for a long time, and I got to do. I had the most valuable, rich relationships in my life. If I could video the conversations and the people that I have in my life, you would say you are a rich woman. I am a very blessed woman. But my life was not always that way because I knew back then that if I healed myself, I knew intuitively, if I faced myself, if I address what was going on in me, because here's the thing, you are the creator, you create. Like, we are co-heirs with God, we are co-creators with God, we are many little gods creating. When God put, if you believe in the Bible, God put us on this earth and he said, go out and create, have dominion. And so we are creating out of this vessel, out of this mind, this spirit, this soul, this body, this heart. We are creating out of this. And so I knew that if I changed my system and how it created, I watched it create. It was creating more pain. It was creating more hardship, and it was creating more anguish in my life. And I was like, I don't like what my system is creating. I need to rewire the system. And so I went on my journey of healing. And listen, I've probably gone through a lot more inner healing than you need to. I feel like I've gone through it so that I can support more people in that journey. I think that I try to make things a little bit easier for people to get to their healing process. But at the end of the day, like, you have to face yourself. Why would you run from yourself? And most of the time, if you have a habit of people running from you, chances are you are running from yourself. And so you'll know when you're not running from yourself, when painful things happen, when conflict shows up. What do they say? Who we really are is when conflict happens, and who are we in those moments? So when conflict shows up and you don't go to beat yourself up, you don't go to judge yourself, you don't push yourself even harder. You go, I'm going to go enjoy myself. Um, I'm going to go take care of me. When you do those things, that's when you know you're on the right path. But if you're still doing the same things over and over and you go, why am I not attracting the right person? Why is my spouse not loving me? I would say look back in the mirror and go, how are you treating yourself? Go look in a mirror right now and take inventory of how you've been treating yourself. And that's a practicality of self-love. And this is probably the longest live I've ever done, but man, this is such a powerful message. So now, do you guys have any questions for me? Green tea. All right, I'm gonna read through and see if there's any questions in here. Um, some people. Oh wow, Mark, it was 4:50 a.m. Woo, that's early. No, I'm not in India. I'm in the south of France right now. Um, let's see who has a Penguin says, correct, these seeds grow. I just realized something from my childhood that has played over and over again in my life. Whew, that's powerful. That's so powerful. It's funny to say penguin because I know it's not your real name, but it's funny to say that's so powerful, penguin. Imagine someone took that clip. Woo! That is powerful. So, penguin, I would say to you in that experience that's been recalled, and sometimes these things happen when you hear a message like this, if you're open and if your body and your nervous system is ready to address it, it'll bring that memory to you. And when our body brings that memory to us, it's like, okay, this needs to be looked at. And so for you, my darling, I would say be very gentle. It's just what I feel for you in this moment. I would say be very gentle with whatever that memory is. And don't place judgment on yourself. I want you to ask yourself this question, Penguin. How can I love myself through this experience? Because whatever happened in my childhood was the opposite of love. So, how can I acknowledge it, grieve it, show compassion? And then, how can I establish the truth, which is that I am loved, that I am easy to love? How can I be gentle with myself and give myself love with this former memory I have had so that I can now have a different experience? And I would love to hear how that goes for you. Tilo Piedad said, I missed you, Erica. I missed you guys too. I missed you guys so much. He says, your videos really helped me become connected with my own self love. I love basking in my essence to share with others alike. Welcome back, Erica. Ooh, that's such a beautiful phrase right there. Look at that. I love basking in my essence to share with others alike. You know, guys, it's I tell you what, once you get in the rhythm of loving yourself and in understanding like when pain comes up, how to walk yourself through that process. I should do a course on that of how to walk through it. I mean, the emotional warrior is really built around that. So I guess I already do have a course around that. It's just getting you guys to get on that journey and take it. But once you do it, it's the freedom. Like I remember I used to be really hard on myself, really hard on myself. Yeah, I'm trying to like not overshare here. I'm trying to have good boundaries with myself and not overshare. But it was bad. It was really bad the way I used to treat myself. It makes me emotional thinking about it because I've come so far, and I would never treat myself that way anymore. And I remember, especially in my teenage years, because I felt so scared and so out of control and so angry. And I was so harsh to myself. I would say mean things to myself. I would treat myself mean. And now when I look in the mirror, I just go, I love you so much, Erica. I am so lucky to be you. I'm so glad I get to be you. And I hug myself and I kiss myself and I tell myself what a beautiful girl I am. Just as before I was getting on this live, I went to the beach and just had a quick lunch. I sat in the sand because that's how I love myself. I ground myself on the sand. And I looked up and they have all these yachts here in the port. And I looked at all the yachts and I looked at the beach and I touched myself. I was touching my fingers so that I could tangibly, so my nervous system can feel me. And I said to myself, Erica, thank you. Thank you for giving me this experience. Thank you for bringing me here. Thank you. Thank you for loving me. And I really take time to acknowledge what I am doing for myself. Whenever I feel like people aren't appreciating me, I go, are you appreciating yourself, Erica? Whenever we want from someone else, we always got to check in and go, but am I giving myself that? Because it starts with me. I can't give out what I don't have. And so when I tell you to face your pain, it's the victory on the other side. And I have to say, like, I never thought I would be so in love with myself, not from an arrogant place, but from a, ooh, I get to be me. I get to be in this world and I get to be Arica Angelo. Ooh, I'm so proud of the woman you've become. And I really, really, my hope, my prayer, my desire for you is that when you look in the mirror, that you come to a place um, where you can wholeheartedly, not just from words, but you experience it. Because I know we will tell ourselves that we love ourselves to say the right things, to reprogram our minds. But when those words become in alignment with an experience where you can actually feel love, there's the elation, there's the enjoyment, there's the excitement, there's the peace, there's the contentment in that. When you can actually have that experience, when it emerges together and it integrates, then when you have that, that is my wish for you, is that you can feel like you really love yourself. And sometimes it's just facing those things in the past that told us that we were not lovable and just going, that really sucked and that really hurt and that wasn't okay. And I want to make it up to you. And I'm saying this like having a conversation with yourself. I want to make it up to you. I want to give you a different experience. Those people were sick who treated you that way. They were broken, they were unhealthy, they were toxic, they were afraid, and what they did to you wasn't okay. But I want to make it up to you because you're worthy of it. And I want to give you a different experience because I love you that much. That's why I want to hear you talking to yourself. Uh, Robert says, great advice. Did you need a break from YouTube? That is a great question. I did. Not just YouTube per se, but just from my work. And I was working on a very big project that I'm not at liberty to share just yet. I can't wait until I can share it with you guys, but I'm not at liberty to share with you about the project. And it was pretty full on and it was demanding on top of I was running my business. I was still coaching clients and it was just it was a lot all at once. And, I've been coaching for 14 years. And here's the thing, like the challenge is there are a lot of deep answers that I know I have for you guys, but it's gauging in and seeing like, do people have the capacity to hear those answers? Because like, I may have very deep transformative things to share with you, like in this video. But if people aren't ready to receive that, then it's like you have to just give them bite sizes. And so I felt like a lot of my advice was just giving bite size instruction and help. But behind the scenes with my clients, it's like the stuff I'm sharing here with you is the stuff I share with my clients. Like this is the rich stuff that I get to do with my clients. This stuff makes me come to life. This stuff moves me. This gives me meaning. But when I was just giving the bite sizes on a lot of my YouTube videos, I felt it kind of draining. And the reason why is like, I wasn't in alignment with it. I'm more in alignment with like bringing more advice that's transformative. But I knew at the time, like, it just didn't feel right. Didn't feel like you guys were ready to hear that sort of stuff. But I think I'm just at a place now where I'm like, I know the value of sharing this type of message and I just have to share it. And if I lose my subscribers, which is such a risk, I have to be honest, scary risk because I've worked so hard to get 120,000 subscribers. But if people stop paying attention to my videos because they don't want to hear this deep stuff, well, then that's just how it's going to have to be. But I have to share what I know to be true and what I know that can turn people's lives around and really transform their lives. And so yeah, some of the advice was just so bite-sized, and I was just like, "Ugh, this is kind of draining because it doesn't really like I don't get to speak from my soul." And like how I'm communicating to you today, like this is speaking from my soul. This is speaking from my purpose, from like everything that I've deposited into myself and my identity and pouring out from that. So I think that's why I got burnt out. And it's the same thing in like dating. I think people get burnt out in dating because you get so tired of not being able to show up as the real you. You get tired of showing up as a half person because it takes time to get to know a person and feel safe with them to share those vulnerable places. But when you just constantly just share the small pieces of you with this person and that person, you're like, this is tiring. Like there's so much more to me and I feel more alive when I get to share all of me. And so that's kind of my own commitment to myself. It's a bit of a risk. It's a gamble that I'm taking to start sharing more on this level. But I'm just gonna have to take that risk, right? Because that's what I'm in alignment with. And so I just have to share from that place. So I hope that it touches people. I hope it resonates. I hope it changes people's lives. But if I get a smaller audience because of it, well, then I get a smaller audience. But the most important thing is that I'm true to myself and that my truth releases freedom into people's lives and they have transformation. I just shared on my Instagram story. And I don't know why I haven't shared this before. If you're on my Instagram, it's the Erica. Erica's with an A. There's no E. The Arica Angelo. And my stories, I just shared how one of my clients years ago came to me for help, and he was in a toxic relationship. And I get a lot of people coming to me who've been in toxic relationships. A lot of people who've dated narcissists and things like that. And so he came to me, he's in a really toxic relationship. And so he was like, Erica, do I stay? Do I go? And I was like, you 100% are not going to stay in that. I will not let you stay in that. And so we went on a journey of him loving himself, of him facing himself, becoming more valuable, becoming more worthy. And then years later, he invited me to his wedding, and it makes me a little emotional. He brought me up on stage, and he married Beyonce's cousin, the singer Beyonce. And I saw Beyonce's father at the wedding, and I said, "Why is Beyonce's dad at your wedding?" And he said, "This is Beyonce's cousin." Which was so cool because I love Beyonce. I'm from Texas. She's from Texas, and she's just a powerhouse of a woman. And her cousin, oh my God, she's like an angel. She has the most beautiful energy. And my client brought me up on stage and he said, it's because of this woman. She changed my life. I was in an unhealthy relationship, and this woman taught me how to love myself and how to value myself. And if it weren't for her, I would not be here today. And we would not be here at this wedding if it weren't for this woman. Um, it makes me emotional. Yeah, I'm like, guys, this is why I can't encourage you enough to do the work and to face yourself. Not to say that all of you will marry Beyonce's cousin. She probably only has so many cousins out there, but it can transform you. It can create a whole new world, a whole new life for you if you would just stop running from yourself. Because when we run from ourselves, we're not loving ourselves. And people feel that energy of when we're running from ourselves. They can go, something's not right here. And then even if they can't articulate that and put it into words, their intuition knows. It's a vibration that they recognize, and they go, I got to run from this person because this person's running from themselves. So why would I run to them? And I'm going to leave you guys with that. I'll answer one. Oh, make sure that you get that connection meditation. I'm going to put it in the comment section. Start there, you guys. When I talk about you need an experience with love, start with that. You hear my voice, which I believe my voice carries a lot of power and authority. and my voice breaks strongholds off of people's lives, which is a really powerful gift to have. But my voice is also very loving and very soothing. And so many my clients have all asked me, will you make a meditation for me for this or that? And so I just learned, okay, maybe I just need to make this meditation for everyone, because my clients are always asking me to make personalized meditations for them. And so you're going to get the experience of the love that I have for you, because we're all spirit beings. It's like Avatar. I see you, I feel you. And so it's a plug for Avatar. I don't even get anything for that. And yeah, it's just creating an experience of love. And I think, when we know that we're loved, we become unstoppable at everything. So make sure you get that. I'll finish with this last question. You know the worst type of women every man needs to stay away from? The Karens. Well, leave it to Ninja Wolf to end this on a funny note. That's freaking hilarious. Stay away from the Karens. That is pure gold, Ninja Wolf. You are so special, and I love your humor. It touches my heart. Guys, I love you. I mean, boy, did we come off strong with our first live that I haven't done in ages. So thank you so much for being here. And I will see you guys in my next live. I want to try to do more of these live videos. So I love you. Be loved, and know that you're loved and that you have what it takes. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye, my darlings.